Good evening, people. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining us for another manager carnage. Hopefully, looks like probably, possibly the last manager carnage we will need to be doing. But you never know. You never know when it comes to Liverpool transfers, managers. So much to discuss. Of course, we've got the Merseyside preview to look forward to as well. Of course, I need people to talk to because I could easily speak to myself. I'm one of those weirdos that I could easily sit here and talk to myself and not feel uncomfortable. I'm weird like that. I'm psycho like that. But you guys would get bored. You guys would get fed up. So I thought I'd bring in some people to speak to. Of course, I've got Mush joining me as usual. I say as usual, but he's been slacking a little bit. Mush, how are we doing? How are you feeling? You all right?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's been a bit of a roller coaster of a few weeks. I'm almost afraid to believe again, man. So yeah, looking forward to this chat, man, and everything we've got in store in this show.
Absolutely, absolutely. It has been a bit of a it's mad, isn't it? Like just when we think we've got enough on our plate with the title race and Klopp resigning, but you know what I mean, leaving actually is a kind of resignation, right? So he's leaving, and a title race and everything else. We have all this drama about new coaches, new managers, who's the favorite. Twitter was in uproar today, and today we had some more breaking news from all the major journalists suddenly. And you know, when all the major journalists sort of come out with something, you know something's about to happen. And of course, I've got the wonderful, wonderful Ben Bozak joining us. Ben, hope you're doing very well, and thank you very much for joining us again tonight.
Yeah, it's good to be on. Thank you for inviting me.
It's not a problem. And listen, guys, if you haven't checked out Ben, I don't know what you're doing. Ben is a journalist and has featured on so many platforms, including Guardian Sport, World Soccer Mag, At Goal, Daily Mirror, Talk Sport, formerly of Reach PLC. Guys, if you haven't followed his work, you are missing out on pearls of wisdom. And I am so happy to have him share some of his pearls of wisdom. But guys, let's get into it today. Obviously, Ben, we know our legendary coach is leaving. We know this for a fact. And as much as we don't like to think about his successor too much, because it's going to hurt, because the pain of actually realizing successor means Klopp is leaving. The show must go on, as they say. Obviously, first and foremost, we heard about the Alonso chat, and Xabi Alonso decided to stay. And then it was fairly doing the circles and rounds that Ruben Amorim was the guy. Can I just, before we get into today's topic, can I ask you your thoughts on when you heard or read that Ruben Amorim was the favorite? What was your thoughts on him?
I really like Ruben Amorim. Just last week, I actually spoke to a former Sporting player, and he described him sort of having an aura when he came to the club, and I think you can sort of see that as well. He does have that aura about him. I think he's a really exciting young coach, and he's doing great work with Sporting. He's got a very distinct style of play, so I was all aboard the Amorim train. I think his style of play and what he's achieved at Sporting and at Braga as well in the short space of time that he was there is really impressive. He seems like someone who gets his ideas across quickly, and he's got a really impressive resume. So I was all aboard that train, but obviously it looks like perhaps that ship might have sailed for Liverpool.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, Mush. We were all on the Amorim train after the Alonso train. Obviously, I think because of the romance of Xabi Alonso, the sentiment, the ex-player, and everything else, and not only that, but the fantastic job that he's done at Leverkusen, we were firmly on Xabi Alonso hype. It took a little bit of convincing, I think, but we done a show, didn't we, with Zach Lowy?
Yeah.
And he convinced us that Amorim is the perfect candidate for Liverpool. How did it feel when the very reliable, the very honourable David Ornstein suggested that's not looking likely now? Was it like another shrug of the shoulders, like after Alonso and now Amorim? What is going on? Or was you still positive? No, there's a process, there's a structure. We have to trust it. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I was slightly shocked.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that the first thing that probably caught us all off guard was the news wasn't Ruben Amorim decides to stay at Sporting. The news wasn't Ruben Amorim looking to take time to make a decision. The news was Ruben Amorim is on a plane going to West Ham. Now, losing out, no disrespect to West Ham, but Liverpool Football Club losing arguably, top 3 managers in the world, and then losing out on their big target to West Ham was something I was struggling to digest. I guess I'm still very much, I mentioned it on the Amorim show as well, which was I'm so focused on the outcome of this season that
Yeah.
I'm not too fixated on what's next, because I think a lot of how the remainder of the season unfolds will affect not only who we want, but also who might want to come to us as well. So I think the criteria that any kind of manager is going to judge whether Liverpool is a good job against is still developing. So until that's kind of fleshed out completely, I'm not too against Liverpool having a set of targets, but announcing after the season is done. I know we're going to have probably Grizz in the coming weeks have a big conversation about was Klopp's announcement done at the right time, but we've also sensitively got to deal with when is the new manager announcement the right time for as well. So
That's a great shout.
Yeah, a lot of moving pieces still that I'd be lying if I said that I've made sense of. Yeah.
No, I'm with you actually. All those make sense, but that's coming from a rational, calm kind of Liverpool fan that you are. Not everyone's like you. Ben, we want to know. We want names. We wanted to. It's just natural instinct, isn't it? It's like Klopp's leaving. Who on earth is going to be the guy that replaces Jurgen Klopp? And before we get into sort of the favorite and what looks like the imminent, nothing is done. Preface everything we say with nothing is done as far as we know. But we're going to, before we get into today's the main talking point, Indian Scouts is in the building. The big up Grizz panel in the chat. I'm sure he will slot right in. I did ask for the best slot jokes, right? I'm also going to call out the most obvious and rubbish ones as well. So look, if you're going to do jokes, do make them good, and I'll recognize them. Otherwise, if you're going to do ones that have been done already, look, up the slot. Like, this is a family show. Like, well, too late now. I've already highlighted it. I like this one. The slot thickens. I like that one. That's a good one. Do you know what I mean? So there's some good ones. I'll go through them as we go along. But Ben, Amorim's out the picture, so we're reliably informed. And then obviously, today was a day where kind of names were thrown out willy-nilly, left, right, and center. Before you heard Arne Slot, did any of those names intrigue you to a point where you thought, that sounds good? So we know Alonso, we know Amorim. Okay. The rest of the names, did any stand out to you, Ben? And you can be honest as honest as you want. Because if they didn't stand out to you, you can say that as well.
To be honest, it wasn't a great list, was it? But I have to admit, I've sat in Thomas Frank's press conference before, and I really like him and his character. I think, he would have. I would have been okay with him coming in if that was Liverpool's choice, because he does play a sort of similar style to Jurgen Klopp, very intense in the pressing and stuff like that. So he's obviously got the character as well. It's very similar. He's always quite sort of witty with reporters, so I quite like him. Roberto De Zerbi as well. I think he's gone under the radar. I think he would have been a good fit as well. But I think Slot hit them two, and probably Slot were the sort of 3 favorites, or the 3 people that I looked at, and I thought, yeah, they could potentially come in. Unai Emery maybe, but then obviously he signed a new contract with Aston Villa, and that was an unrealistic one for Liverpool. So out of the 3 sort of realistic options, I think those 3 stood out for me anyway.
You're so spot on. The list wasn't the most. I don't know. I don't know. It depends how you look at a list. It's just because we don't know or we don't recognize the talents of a coach or manager, we haven't heard of the manager, doesn't mean sort of they're not skilled or very highly valued. Mush, when you heard the names today being thrown about, was there anything that you thought, okay, avoid, maybe, definitely, give me a avoid, give me you thought, okay, maybe, and one you saw we need to chase him.
Yeah, I think avoid. I'd probably, just on a personal level, I've seen Eddie Howe's name kind of mentioned in passing a few times.
There was, yes, there was.
I'm very resistant to that because I think everyone kind of commends him with the Bournemouth job, which to a degree they should. But everyone kind of forgets that anytime he spent more than 10 million, he literally flushed it down the toilet at Bournemouth again and again and again. And I think that was a worrying sign for me. So I knew that, the moment you let him upscale the team, he kind of hasn't been able to do it. But he's been unlucky with injuries this year at Newcastle. I guess other names, I have no idea where this has come from. This is very much a Twitter phenomenon, Grizz. But I think Liverpool fans have gone through like a 14-year-old girl fancying a boy at school's mentality of dreaming up a scenario where Zinedine Zidane is joining, then worked out why he doesn't want to come, then become upset at why he isn't coming. All three have happened within 6 hours. I did not even know Zinedine Zidane was interested in returning to management, let alone come to Liverpool Football Club. So there's been the wild and wonderful, and then I guess the other two that are interesting is obviously Arne Slot, which we're going to hear about today. But then the other one I'm really interested in is a bit of a quiet one, and I think it might be a move too early. But Gary O'Neill is looking. I think it sounds so weird because I'm talking about an English manager, but people have almost a discriminatory judgment of him, thinking that your Pardew's and Pulises of the past mean that he's got an archaic way of playing. And I really like Gary O'Neill's ideas. And I think if this was a manager who had Acuna and a Neto fit all season, we would have maybe been talking about a manager who's pushing for the top 6 or the top 7 or something like that. So I think Gary O'Neill was the one that I really like the direction we're looking at, if that's the kind of manager. But yeah, man, it's been a crazy one because there's been names I didn't expect to see either.
No, you're right. But look, I mean, again, Ben, we're going to come to might as well get into the crux of the matter, which is Arne Slot. You are without doubt the pronunciation master. So because everyone has turned it into Arne Slot, or maybe it's just me.
Arne, isn't it?
But what is the correct pronunciation before we get into it, Ben?
I'm not quite sure.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I've been going by Arnie, but
really?
It might be Arne. I don't know.
I was going by John Arne Risa, like Arne.
Yeah, that could be it.
Well, there you go. Davies told us it's Arne.
Yeah,
Arne Slot. I don't think it's Arnold. Or it might be the sort of, it might be the Dutch version of Arnold, right? So yeah, I get it. Guys, some of the slot jokes are really not worth me pulling up. So look, the slot machine, by the I'm just not impressed by many of your jokes, to be honest with you. But look, Arne Slot is the name. Paul Joyce. Then we had the whole firm, didn't we? The firm of journalists, so to speak. Bascom, Dominic King. Ornstein hasn't said much on it yet, but all of the main, Melissa Reddy, all Dominic King, I think I've said Dominic King twice there. Maybe that's how much I rate him. But all of the journalists have come out and said...
Not shaming is hilarious.
Oh, God, really? Did someone really say that? Oh, God, I'm not going to get into that. Arne Slot is the name that is on every journalist's lips. And it almost was synchronized. It almost like a briefing, Ben. And when that usually happens, usually it means it's further down the line than they are letting off. Would that be correct?
It does seem that way. I think, if you look at what's transpired in the last 24 hours or so, a little bit longer than 24 hours. It feels like things are moving quickly, and we could potentially get a resolution very soon in this saga, which I think all Liverpool fans really, we're kind of looking forward to that, because it's almost been a little bit of a distraction not knowing what's going to happen for all of us. Whereas we really just want to focus on the last 5 games of the season now. So yeah, it would be good to get some resolution and actually know which direction the club is heading towards. Because I think it's not just us, but it's a little bit of uncertainty for the players as well. They all want to focus on the games ahead, but a part of their brains will be thinking about the season ahead as well, and the summer ahead, because it's not that far away now.
Ben, I need to refer to your tweet, in fact, and I'm going to bring it up now because I think it's fair to say that you're a fan of Arne Slot. I mean, you tweeted today that Arne Slot's final would make the most tackles in the opposition's final third. They also create the most shooting opportunities from defensive actions and score the most goals from defensive actions. Slot has made them into a great pressing team. That goes into probably my obviously opening question in terms of stylistically, what are we expecting from Arne Slot? That's the biggest question on everyone's lips, because Jurgen Klopp has instilled such a method, a recognized way of playing that's synonymous with Jurgen Klopp team. Gegenpressing, high energy, intensity is our identity. Talk to us about Arne Slot's identity.
I think it's more of the same. That's what Liverpool fans should be expecting. It's high intensity, high pressures. Slot's teams really do press high up the field. You only got to watch their recent demolition of Ajax. They beat Ajax, I think 6 or 7-0.
6-0. Yep, I've got it right here.
If you watch those goals, pretty much a lot of them come from their players, Slot's players, pressing Ajax high up the pitch, winning possession and going on a run, going into the box and scoring. That's what they're really good at. They're really good at pressing. And I think those numbers show that as well. Like, they attempt the most tackles in the opposition's final third. They score and create the most chances from regaining possession in those areas as well. So I think that's something that's not going to change under Slot. It's very similar to Jurgen Klopp, and I think it's also something that we know Liverpool's approach has been data led. We know it's the gurus looking at the numbers and looking at the data and everything to sort of analyze the best fit for Jurgen Klopp. And I have to admit, Alonso seemed sort of kind of similar in the data and in the styles, but obviously short sample size, he doesn't want to leave Leverkusen. Amorim, for me, didn't 100% fit that profile. There were things that were similar, but his pressing is definitely not as intense as Slot's or Klopp's.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
interesting.
For me, data-wise, Slot is a better fit, almost, if we're going like for like, replacement for Klopp. And I think all the numbers sort of suggest that as well. They're one of the best pressing teams in Europe's top 7 leagues, and they play with a lot of intensity and a lot of quick, short passes as well in possession. It's really entertaining to watch, and I think if you talk to Feyenoord fans as well, they'll say the same things.
I think one of the key elements was looking at the way he sets up, and Ben speaks about sort of the Amorim decision, or maybe one of the things about Amorim decision would have been the makeup of the playing staff, because he plays in a very definitive 3-4-3, whereas by all accounts, and Ben correct me if I'm wrong, but our man Slot plays a 4-3-3. Hallelujah.
Not always.
Okay.
It's more of like a 4-2-3-1.
I beg your pardon, a 4-2-3-1. Yep.
So
sorry. I was just saying by this. Yeah.
It's definitely more similar to the way Klopp plays at Liverpool in comparison to Amorim, but you often see him sort of having a more advanced midfielder and two sort of deep lying holding midfielders. He did that a lot, especially at AZ Alkmaar, and he's doing it at Feyenoord as well. So yeah, it's he's definitely open to playing 4-3-3, but most of the time, mostly it's more of a 4-2-3-1 sort of formation.
But it's far more easy to transition from a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-3-3, as opposed to if your base formation is a 3-4-3, right, Mush?
Yeah.
Automatically we start, because what do Liverpool fans do next? We start envisaging that formation he's playing, or this formation that I've got up in front of you screen. This is the game what Ben's referencing, where they smashed Ajax 6-0. That's the equivalent of us smashing Man United 7-0. So you can imagine high intensity, high profile game, and he just demolished them. And this was the average positions of the players in that game. I've been looking through the average positions, and it's amazing. It's actually amazing how very similar they are. So Ben's right. He has got a definitive way of playing. 4-2-3-1 definitely appeals to the makeup of our playing staff, the attributes, the caliber of players, the stylistic players we've got. It definitely suits that, and that helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think
in terms of the transition.
Yeah, I think that thing you're talking about what people do when a manager who's going to come into a club has a system is, if you've got a 4-3-3 and you want to take it to a 4-2-3-1, the numbers you have in terms of number of centre backs, number of midfielders, number of attackers doesn't need too much reconfiguration compared to if you're going to a 3-4-3, you probably need 6 centre backs because you need one backup per position. So you need to reconfigure the whole squad, which I'm not saying can't happen, but evidently if a manager has a 4-2-3-1 way of playing, then him coming in, he can probably hit the ground running a little better than someone like Amorim, who might have needed a year or two to get those squad numbers right. I guess one thing I'm super interested in, Ben, because some people have spun this as a positive. Me thinking how I'm experiencing this season as a Liverpool fan, I'm going to call this a negative, right? Which is I saw Arne Slot has got the same number of points from losing positions as Jurgen Klopp. Now, some people might spin that as a team that has a lot of character. I'm going to look at that as it sounds like a team who, similar to this current team, goes behind a lot. Otherwise, you wouldn't need to get 60 points from losing positions. What do you make of kind of any complacency or defensive frailties a Slot team might have?
I think the defensive frailties are sort of similar to a Jurgen Klopp system, and that's just the way this sort of pressing, if you're going to press intensely, there are going to be times when you are going to be vulnerable in the sort of offensive transition. So I don't think that's going to change. I think in that sense they are very similar, and I think that might not be something that Liverpool fans want to hear, but we've been able to overcome those problems at our greatest under Jurgen Klopp, so I don't think it's necessarily that much of an obstacle. I think if you get the system right, you don't need to worry about conceding goals almost because you'll score more, and that's kind of Slot's sort of philosophy and mentality. And I think as fans, that's kind of what we want to see. Like, we don't want the sort of really controlled, almost sort of robotic playing styles that some managers employ.
Well, this is it, because Ben, it goes down to what I was literally reading a couple of hours ago, that he's stylistically he admires Bielsa. And we all know how Bielsa played, like in terms of and we also know that Klopp's a massive fan of Bielsa as well. So in terms of the high risk, that's one
high risk, high reward.
Risk, high reward. And the way Ben's speaking about sort of how he presses and how many ball recoveries we have in the opposition half, it suggests that he does like to entertain as well as sort of win games of football. And that's, like you said, when it came to replacing Klopp, that would have been a massive criteria or a box that needed ticking, right, Ben? Because as you said, we're used to a certain style of play now, because that's what we've seen for the last 9 years, guys.
Go on.
No. Go on.
I just wanted to sort of add as well, like it's a sort of I wanted to sort of highlight how important his sort of European record is. I think it's going under the radar. You know, he's taken final to a UEFA Conference League final, lost to Mourinho's Roma, but at that point Mourinho had never lost a final.
By the way, I saw that game, Ben. They absolutely ripped Roma apart. It was like chance after chance, possession, expected goals, and everything. Sorry, because I remember that. I remember watching that game.
So, like, he's recorded some really good results in Europe over the last few years, whereas like beaten teams that you wouldn't expect Feyenoord to beat as well. So, whereas with Amorim as well, there were some question marks from me in terms of his European record because he hasn't quite got any sort of impressive results under his belt. He's beaten the teams that he should beat and didn't quite get the results against the team that he shouldn't. Whereas I think Slot's got a few results that, you know, raise his eyebrows and you go, okay, that's quite impressive. And I think when you're looking at managers or even players in terms of coming from lower leagues or not necessarily as strong as the top 5 leagues, that's kind of something that you look at and sort of analyze, because that's the big high intensity, big pressure games and you want to see how they do. And Slot tends to do quite well or all right or better than Amorim, for example. So I think that's gone under the radar. And I also want to sort of highlight, I think a lot of people have said that he was in Ten Hag's shadow when Ten Hag was in the Eredivisie. Well,
yeah, can you dispel any myths and can you dispel any fears and myths? Because a lot of people are saying, "Oh my God, Liverpool have got their Ten Hag version."
No, I mean, okay, so the first 2 games they played, Arne Slot was at AZ Alkmaar, probably an even sort of weaker team than Feyenoord, where he's at now. He beat Ten Hag 1-0 at home and got and beat Ten Hag away from home 2-0, which is a very rare result for AZ Alkmaar in Amsterdam. So, you know, he hasn't done badly against him. In the second season, yes, Ten Hag did get the better of him. They were narrow games, and Ten Hag won both. But you only got to compare, you know, the squad that Ten Hag had at his disposal and the squad that Slot had. So it wasn't an even fight. But even so, Slot got a few big punches and a few big results. So it's not been under his shadow by any means. And yeah, you only got to go by the first 2 games that they played, and the fact that he managed to get a historic result in Amsterdam with AZ Alkmaar against Ten Hag is pretty impressive. And I think if it wasn't for COVID, he might have even won the league with AZ Alkmaar during that season, and
that would have been one of the most. That would have been one of the greatest stories in the Eredivisie if he won the league in that COVID season. Whereas it was sort of postponed or abandoned. The season was abandoned because of COVID. And you make a very good point, because I know you've got to leave us in a few minutes, but that point that you made about the squad at his disposal, we're talking Feyenoord here, who are without doubt the 3rd biggest team, whereas PSV and Ajax are the real big dogs, so to speak, and Feyenoord, and he's got them punching above, you know, their weight, and in terms of squad cost, you know, how much investment he's allowed to make, that would have appealed to Edwards and Co as well, wouldn't it have? And also briefly touch upon his ability or his record with the youth players as well, how many players he's brought through the system or through the club.
I was also going to ask, Ben, whilst you're answering that, what I'd love to know, as well as the young players, it doesn't necessarily have to be a player playing well for Liverpool right now, but what players do you think currently in the Liverpool squad would flourish under Slot's style of management and approach to football?
Well, I guess we'll segue that into one of the questions that said Magpie96 said, would love to hear Ben's views on Szoboszlai. I really think Szoboszlai need to be deployed higher as an attacking right wing. So it kind of weighs into all 3 of our some points and you know, conversation. Right.
Yeah. So the first point in terms of what was your first point? I kind of got lost.
In terms of punching above his weight, that would have been definitely something FSG Edwards
Absolutely.
looked at.
It's kind of similar to what Amorim has done at Sporting, isn't it? Sporting wasn't like the strongest team. They got Benfica and Porto who have much better financials, and he's made them very competitive in that division. And that's what Slot has done first with AZ Alkmaar and then with Feyenoord as well. So that's been really impressive. I think he's brought through a lot of young players. He's worked with a lot of exciting Dutch talents as well. For example, Toyn Koopmeiners, who's at Atalanta now, he was his sort of key pillar at AZ Alkmaar. He was his captain. There's a few other players as well that have been linked with Liverpool in the past. Orkun Kutsu is very highly rated, and
Well, I know we've got we have very firm interest in their left-sided centre back,
David Hanko. Yeah,
David Hanko.
yeah.
We looked at him extensively. We looked at him, so
that's
that
the
will
other
be
thing as
interesting.
well, because we know Liverpool scouts have very intensely followed Sporting, but have also very intensely followed Feyenoord. If we look at the sort of players that have been linked with us, or we know have been scouted, a lot of them from the Eredivisie have been sort of Feyenoord players, or even AZ Alkmaar players, like I mentioned with Koopmeiners. He's been someone on our radar since he started working with Arne Slot. In terms of the question about Szoboszlai and whether I think he would suit Arne Slot's system better, I think, yeah, potentially. I think he could play that number 10 role. I think this might be controversial, but when I first started watching him when he was 16, he was playing in a double pivot for Hungary, and I've spoken to the Hungarian national team manager several times, and he seems to be a big fan. And for the Hungarian national team, he actually plays a lot deeper than he does for Liverpool. And I know fans have actually been saying the opposite, that no, he's better further forward. Well, no, he's actually thriving with the national team, playing in a much deeper role. And the Hungarian national team manager compared him to almost Andre Pirlo to me when I spoke to him. I don't quite see those comparisons, but I do think in a double pivot, I would kind of like to see him in that role, but I also think he could suit the number 10 role. I think that number 10 role might potentially suit Elliot more. Elliot is in great form as well, so I think he could be someone who could really benefit. And I think McAllister just slots into this system really well. The sharp, incisive passing that Arne Slot likes his players to do, it will be like right up McAllister's sort of street. So I think those midfield players are really going to thrive under him, and those are the sort of players that I want to highlight. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of changes are made as well, because I'm expecting, there will be some new players brought in as well, and there will be some players who won't necessarily suit his system either.
Who do you think some of those players might be that don't suit?
It's a tough question. I think in a lot of, like, for me, I would have sort of question marks maybe where does Ryan Gravenberch fit into this system, because in Arne Slot's team, you either have a number 10 or more of a deep lying playmaker, and I see Gravenberch as more of a sort of box to box midfielder.
Yeah,
I don't know if there is a room for him there. I don't know if he can quite play that deep lying role, but it'll be interesting to see. I think he can prove me wrong. He's done that role for Ajax in the past, so I think it will be a clean slate for every Liverpool player really. But perhaps he's the one that I think will be sort of interesting, and I think Salah as well, potentially, because this is a really intense system. And over the last sort of season, I think his intensity has dropped a little bit. So I don't know if he'd be sort of he'd be raring to go again and play this really intense system. He is going to be 32 years old now, and he's going to be thinking about his body and sort of elongating his career for as long as possible.
You make a very good point there in terms of the players. Obviously, we're always looking for players that will flourish, but it's also important to know which players may be looking over their shoulder. And just very lastly, before we do let you go, I was going to ask you about what is his man management style like, because that's going to be crucial. You just mentioned Mohamed Salah. We know he, sometimes isn't the easiest person to bring off. Sometimes even Jurgen Klopp is sort of, struggling to take him off without having a backlash from him, whatever. What's Arne Slot like in terms of game management? What's his relationship like with players? What's he known as in terms of with the media, the public image, the fans?
Yeah, I mean, from the clips that I've seen and from what I've heard, he's nothing like Ten Hag. Ten Hag is very cold and, sort of very serious.
Has no people skills.
Yeah, yeah, you could say that. And again, nothing like that. Slot is always smiling. He tends to be in general quite happy and positive. He gets on well with all his players. The fans love him. The players love him. He's nothing like Ten Hag at all. He's quite a cool, calm, relaxed guy, and sort of typical Dutchman, and not like Ten Hag, who I think is more of an atypical Dutchman.
Tom Izzy joins us and says, "Slam, big up everyone. Remember we discussed a certain Japanese forward in the name of Ueda plays for Feyenoord. Are you familiar with this player, Ben? Is it Ueda?
Yeah,
How do you say it?
yeah. He's got a decent record. He could be, I think, he's a bit like Takumi Minamino, isn't he? He could be sort of another Minamino for Liverpool if that's someone who Liverpool would look towards. I think there's probably better players in Feyenoord. And yeah, like that comment, absolutely. I'm on board with that. Slot is miles ahead of Ten Hag in terms of media. He's more like Jurgen Klopp in that sense. And I think this is why, like, fans, you just look at a picture of him, and I think fans almost sort of started judging him. Like they started judging a book by its cover.
People don't like him because he's bold. I don't understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Look,
exactly. That's
us
comments.
bullies have this like I mean, I'm hated just as much as him. Like now I know why. Now I know why. Maybe I need to buy him some flat caps. And maybe he needs to wear a few.
That's most of the comments that I got that were critical
Crazy.
of him. They had no idea about what he's done, what he's like, and just sort of commented about his appearance. And I think that's unnecessary, to be honest. You got to look more into it. You got to have more research. And when it comes down to it, Michael Edwards, FSG, everyone, they're smart guys. They will have looked at all of those stuff and taken all of those things into consideration, as well as the data. Like, they're not just looking at the data, they're taking all those things into consideration. So sometimes you just got to trust the people whose job it is to do all that research and, just believe in them. And I think if he's their choice, then I'm happy. I'm all for it. I'm happy for it. I think he'd be a good appointment.
Well, there you go. Thank you very much, Ben, for joining us and giving us a bit of insight into Arne Slot. No doubt I will pester you and beg you to come on again, and hopefully you can have some time for me. But thank you very much, Ben. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. Guys, make sure you go and check out. I'm going to leave it in the description, all his social media handles. Make sure you go and check out Ben Bosak. Absolute gentleman. Thank you very much, my friend.
Cheers, Ben.
Thank you for having me, and definitely would be happy to come on again and talk more Slot with you guys. So
excellent.
Appreciate it. Thanks everyone.
Take care, my friend.
Thank
you, Ben.
All the best. Take care.
Bye.
When we spoke to Zach after the Amorim chat, we got really excited. And at the start of the day, there was a bit of doom and gloom because of the Amorim last night. Talks breaking down, whatever. Mush, all day today, I've been doing as much research as one can do. I've been speaking to everyone and anyone about Arne Slot. Everyone, honestly, everyone apart from people that hate bald people speaks highly of this guy and have got me really positive about this guy. Or are we just getting carried away again like we do with any name that's linked with Liverpool? Or is there reason to be excited?
I think it's super, super disappointing. And I think we as Liverpool fans normally aren't like this. Like,
Mhm.
I've been looking at all the comments coming in,
Mhm.
and the point, like the unwelcome back foot that Arne Slot is starting with for no reason at all, by the way. This isn't Ruben Amorim is not Jose Mourinho at Porto, who's won a Champions League and is looking for his next club. We are looking at managers who are not the sure thing. Unless your name is Carlo Ancelotti or Zinedine Zidane or something like that, we are taking a risk. And you've got to embrace the fact that we are going to have new ideas coming into this club. You've got to embrace the fact that the unknown is scary. I get it. It is scary. We've been in safe hands for almost a decade with, for me, one of the best managers of all time. So whoever's going to come into that job is going to need patience, is going to need time. I don't know why everyone thinks, just because we like Amorim, for example, that he was going to walk in and, we're hitting 97 points in our first season. It wasn't going to be that, even with the manager you like.
Look, like Captain Sal. Look, Captain Sal. I'm extremely disappointed with Slot becoming manager.
Based on what?
Captain Sal. I was going to say, based on what, Captain? Why are you extremely disappointed? You said with Slot becoming manager. Give us some sort of comments in the chat, and I'll bring it forward. In fact, you should call in, man, on Saturday, man. Come in the call-in show and tell me why you're extremely disappointed. Like, the guy hasn't even walked through the door. All we're reading is experts' opinion, and sometimes pundits, journalists can pick out the bad traits and criticize managers as well. But so far, we haven't seen any. All we know, he's done a fantastic job at Feyenoord. It's like, as I said.
The other thing, Grizz, is I want people who are watching this show to look at us and realize we're not into this blind optimism thing.
Yeah.
The question I just asked Ben, that everyone just saw, was this team have had to come back as much as Klopp's team. Is there something that gets exploited in that team? We are asking the questions of what to prepare for. What does this manager potentially have to work on?
And what did we find? We found the answer was because he's very much like Jurgen Klopp in terms of high risk, high reward. He likes to go Bielsa. He compares his style. Some people have compared his style to Bielsa. Now, we know Bielsa's style was magnificent. He just didn't have the players to play out his style to the best of his thinking. Maybe this guy has. Maybe we can elevate his coaching skills with the better quality in our squad, right? Because if, like, squads and systems, I believe, are very much dependent on the caliber of player.
100%. 100%. And not just that, styles and systems also bring out the best and worst of different players. There might be players who have performed really well under Klopp that a new manager comes in who can also be successful, but might have a different base of players that is successful with. The same, Connor Bradley, for example, who might have done well for Klopp this season, might struggle next season. The same Trent that has been coming inside might struggle. We don't know. But at the same time,
what? No, you're good. Because you know what? You mentioned Trent, and someone who claims to watch Feyenoord a lot was talking about how he plays with the. Oh, there you go. Pedro says the Feyenoord right back does invert quite a lot. Will suit Trent Alexander much more than someone like Amorim. Because you got to remember we discussed Amorim, and we were told that his wingers
high and wide.
His fullbacks are high and wide.
Mm.
So when we were interviewing or speaking with Amorim, probably with Amorim, probably one of the questions may have been, and obviously we're speculating here, but I'm assuming one of the things would have been, what are you going to do with Trent? What are you going to do with Salah?
And not just that, Grizz. The Trent conversation is important because remember the announcement today, guys. Liverpool are very likely to go back to Adidas. Trent is one of the brand ambassadors of Adidas. Money talks in commercial conversations in football. Wow. The big question will be, what are you going to do with one of our prized assets in this deal? And how are you going to maximize that? Could be a big part of that conversation.
Captain Sal says, how are we playing a new system when he's similar to Klopp? I don't understand. Captain Sal, we've just discussed that he plays a 4-2-3-1, right? B, we have a new manager that doesn't play exactly like Jurgen Klopp, as Ben says. He's very flexible. So even though his identity from a base position is all about pressing, how many coaches in world football play the same way? So you can't say it's the same as Klopp. He will have fresh ideas, new ideas that we're not privy to right now. I just don't understand why we wouldn't give a new coach a time to implement his system, to implement his identity, and go from there. Because how can we not? It doesn't make sense to me personally. How can we say no? He doesn't. I'm not just singling you out, Captain Sal, by the way. I'm talking about everyone who's saying, oh my God, this is our banter era. Like, can you make sense of why anyone would say this is our banter era coming up?
I think there's been just so much overreaction to something that hasn't happened. Like, honestly, if we had a new manager and this new manager had lost 4 games in a row or something, I'd understand all this talk. We're panicking about a hypothetical situation at the moment. And that thing that was asked just now about how is it any different to Klopp, or how, we're talking about a manager system. Guys, it's important to remember that the best managers, not saying that Slot is or anyone is, but the best managers adapt and change their systems. Yeah.
Yep.
Like Pep Guardiola, Grizz, you would have seen at Barcelona, never played with a 9. It was a false 9 all the time. Now what does he do? He plays with the most box striker of all time in Erling Haaland. He's changed his system. Jurgen Klopp went from a 4-2-3-1 at Dortmund that had Nuri Sahin and Sebastian Kehl sitting with Mario Götze just in front, to now playing a flat 4-3-3. I'm not saying Slot will or Amorim will, but the truth is the best managers come to a new club and adapt to the players that they have.
I think, do you know what? I think people love twisting an argument and anything to do with Liverpool back to FSG, right? So cake sniffer, I think that's what it means, right? That's what it says, right? It says, Grizz, it is the same style as Klopp. You watch. Amorim's system would have meant we would have had to spend money to change the squad. FSG don't want to do that.
It might be true. It might be true.
But what's wrong with that, though?
I don't see anything wrong with that. If anything, that's realism.
So cake sniffer, if that's the reason, and we don't know, right? Let's just say it is. What do we want? We want continuity, or do we want a fresh, total different change? We want, if Jurgen Klopp is leaving us, let's just say for argument's sake, we don't win the league, we finish second, but we win a League Cup and we reach the latter stages of the other trophies, right? We want continuity, or do we think that's a total failure of a season and we want a fresh start? What would you want, Mush, right now from a new manager? Continuity, or total scrap everything else and fresh start?
Well, I think to help answer my question, I think Project 5 AM has done some brilliant input, which is a good caution to have if we want to share that. Project 5 AM.
This one?
Yeah. Now, I think this is important because we've got the likes of Mohamed Salah, we've got Virgil van Dijk, we've got an injury-prone Ibrahima Konate, we've got a McAllister we use a hell of a lot, we've got Jones who picks up regular injuries. Do we want a system that risks stretching their availability even more again? A possession-based system will be slower, more controlled, less high tempo. It might make their availability better. This, for me, this comment from Project 5 AM is a great concern to have because it actually applies some of the stuff that's going on with our squad.
Mohammed nails it for me, man. He goes, why are we behaving like Man United supporters, man? Like, Edward is no fool. Honestly, if we had football carnage in 2015, some people would have complained about Klopp also.
They would have said, look at Klopp's last season at Dortmund. That's what they would have said. That's exactly what they would have said. I am convinced that everyone will have a problem with any type of manager. And they should. I think everyone should be worthy of criticism. But Grey Top is correct. Do you know what I'm most excited about, Grizz?
Go on.
Is the gratitude I have for Jurgen Klopp. I'm sure I'm going to have, my eyes are going to be welling up on the day he goes, right?
Yeah,
But
no doubt.
But the excitement, even something as crazy as when I heard Thomas Frank. Do you know what my first thought was, Grizz? Was how cool would it be to kind of take it back old school and see Liverpool play with a front two like Thomas Frank has? Every manager is going to bring a new flavor to this team. And I'm not saying what's right or wrong or what's going to be successful or unsuccessful. I'm just saying it's exciting to have someone with a new idea and seeing him try to implement that. Surely.
Someone's telling me Dominic King has come out with something new. If he has, please put it forward. Obviously, we're not here. Oh, hold on. Here we are.
I like this point about Slot season though.
Okay, well let's do this. Let's do this super chat. If someone can, instead of me bringing it up on the screen, someone give me the latest Dominic King tweet, and I'll bring it up in the comments. Yo, what's good? Regular member, regular contributor to the channel. Big up yourself. Yo, what's good? He says, watch Slot last season a bit, and I must say he reminds me of De Zerbi in possession of the ball. Very intricate play and passes.
That's so a lot of fun then, because I love watching De Zerbi teams.
I know you're a massive fan of De Zerbi.
Yeah,
you would have been actually you would have been quite happy with De Zerbi, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think the one thing I've been disappointed with this season with De Zerbi is that I don't think he's adapted defensively. He doesn't lose well. I think De Zerbi always loses by 3s, 4s, rather than, containing teams. But if it's anything to do with how his teams attack, there's very few times De Zerbi's teams get on a pitch and don't look like the better side with the football in possession. So if that's Slot, that's fair enough, man.
Listen, guys, my man Fahim's in the building. He says, wanted Alonso, got knocked. Then wanted Amrin, got knocked. Now we got a fruit machine. I don't know what to say to this guy, man. Fahim's my boy. So when Fahim talks, just take it with a pinch of salt, guys. Don't all kill him in the chat all at once. man's a fruit machine himself. He's a fruit machine himself. Fahim. Big up for him every time. He says you've got a fruit machine. So people are saying, okay, so here we go. The update is he would be prepared to bring his assistant, I'm not going to pronounce that, with him to Liverpool if the move gets done. It's absolutely clear now. Slot is preferred candidate. Once the likes of Dominic King and Paul Joyce and Chris Bascom, they're the 3 Liverpool, what's the word? Horsemen? The 3 Liverpool horsemen, I'd say, right? Yeah. Once they start commenting and doing articles like this,
there's legs. There's legs to it.
No, it's more than legs. It's more than legs.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's more than legs. When these 3 henchmen start talking like this, there's more than legs. Look, we will talk about Arne Slot as the days and weeks progress, but we've forgotten, man. There is a title race, man. Like, whether we think we're going to win it or we don't. And look, we've had an awful month, you could say, or couple of weeks, I'd say. But 2 victories. Now, I know the Atalanta one didn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, but it's still, we'll take it. It's a clean sheet and it was a victory, right? It wasn't the best of performances. Yes, the other day, Fulham away was much better. Tomorrow, Tomorrow is the Merseyside derby, and it's that, I don't know, why do we dread it? They're so shit like Man United, but yet we kind of dread it.
I think we just dread it because it's that cliche saying, isn't it? A form doesn't apply. And the fact that if they might, for the last 5 games, lose 4 and win 1. And we're all worried that this is the kind of game which will be the one, right? And on top of that, what I haven't liked is I've been loving the points deductions, but at the same time, they feel like it's us against the world. Sean Dyche's record is actually really good when you consider if you add the points that they should have got, they've actually done quite well. And the other issue is that some of their players are actually playing all right now. Like Dominic Calvert-Lewin scoring a few goals again. Dwight McNeil's constantly involved in their build-up. It's pathetic, like you said, Grizz, because in the grand scheme of things, Dwight McNeil is shit. But we're just worried about the one moment he can have to actually ruin things for us. And I don't know about you, Grizz. I don't know about everyone in the comments. I haven't been lucky enough to share a show with you for a little while, but I will personally admit that after the United and Palace games, I've lost a bit of trust in this team that they can sustain wins and performances. It's not that I don't think we can win again, but I feel like every game now feels like 50-50. I feel like I'm going to turn the TV on, and my team might win, my team might lose. There's no, Grizz, how many times have we watched Liverpool in the
That
last
aura and that confidence that we had.
How many times did you watch Liverpool in the last 5 years where it's a Palace at home, a Bournemouth at home, whatever? You don't even bother, after one goal, you're just staring at your phone or doing whatever because the game's done. No game feels like that anymore. Liverpool are having to use 100% of their mentality and effort for easy games too. So, yeah, man, really taxing. How are you feeling about it?
People, like, obviously, you've not been on last couple of weeks, chicken. You've not been able to, take the downside. You're a glory hunter.
I'm only here when it's good.
Yeah, I know. You're a glory hunter. But guys, there's nearly 400 of you guys in here.
How many likes we got, Grizz?
I don't even know, man. I'm not even checking because I think apparently it's embarrassing. Like some of the mods were saying the likes ratio is embarrassing. Grizz, it's the last. One of the moderators, Bailey, big up Bailey, he says, Grizz, it's the last Merseyside derby. I didn't even know this at Goodison Park. Next season, it's going to be in the new stadium. They ain't got a new stadium ready or nothing.
I thought it was 2-3 years away, innit? They've just got permission for building it.
No way are they moving into a new stadium next year. The state they're in, guys. Bailey, I don't know if you want to check that. I don't want to check that. I don't think it's the last game in that stadium. But listen, we got to pick a team. Let's do this. We got to pick a team.
Man.
All right, let's do this. We got to pick a team for tomorrow. Where we at? Right. I've done the easy bit for you. Right. Allison.
Oh, this is nice. Okay. Has to be the wizard at right back.
Yep. Is that what you call him these days? Yeah.
That's it, man.
Right.
Our first big one. I'm going Jarrell Kwanzaa, man.
You're keeping Jarrell.
I'm keeping Jarrell only because, remember, Grizz, I always talk about keeping players who are in good momentum, even if we believe certain other players have more quality. And right now, Konate isn't showing that quality. He's 23, 24 years old. Ibu will have a bigger part to play in years to come.
Physical nature of Calvert-Lewin. You want Ibu to handle that mush. Can I sway you a little bit? It's not going to be they're going to get a lot of crosses in there. We need to get their head onto the ball. Kwanzaa likes the ball. He's a ball-playing centre.
But then I would also argue, Grizz, in a game like that where Everton are looking for a player to bite in a high-octane, aggressive environment, I can see Ibu being the one to get a silly free kick away or a red or a stupid challenge on the halfway line. I think cool heads are more important than physicality.
All right, because you haven't been here for a little while, I'm going to let you have most of the sway, okay? I'm going to let you have most of the sway.
Thank you.
I don't agree with this, but I'm going to let you have most of the sway. Virgil, of course, goes in there. Yeah. Surely no Gomez or anything like that.
No. Robbo's been playing well recently.
He's been fantastic, man.
Yeah,
he's been fantastic.
Back to his reliable best.
Right, so. Talk to me. This is where it gets maybe.
Oh my goodness me!
Talk to me.
Listen, man. Endo, as a man who is also in his early 30s, I know what happens to the human body. Yeah, we have seen Endo within a month go from a player who got KDB taken off to a player that was getting pickpocketed by 4 Fulham players at the same time whenever he received the ball against Fulham, and he was like that against Atalanta first leg as well. I think we just need someone we can trust on the ball. I think Mac is going to have to play on the 6 just to look after it a bit, I think.
Wow. Guys, let us know in the chat. Are we going to let Mush have his way in all the lineup? For him says Elliot. For him says Elliot, Endo, and Mac. Shane says Mac, Dom, and Harvey. Harvey on the right side, Dominic on the left side.
Where do you guys sit on the 6, guys, in the comments?
Yeah, let's do the 6 first.
Let's do the
Are we?
six.
Are we stick? Because I thought Endo had a very good second half, man. I know what you mean, though. I absolutely know what you mean. Like, I don't know.
We've got a bit
Macca
of
in
a
the six.
split. I'm seeing some
Macca in the six.
endos. I'm seeing some
Endo,
Macca.
Macca, and oh no, Endo in the six. I think Mush makes a good call. Macca in the six. Are we utilizing him at his best there? We've just seen.
For me, it's not about best. It's about we can't lose control of match situations, and we can't be generous tomorrow and let Everton build up some kind of momentum. And I just think Mac looking after the ball just quietens the crowd down completely. Personally, where do you sit, Grizz? What's your thinking?
You know what, you've got me. I don't know. Honestly, you've got me thinking. Like I know what you mean. Endo's not my favorite player.
No, I think Endo is good when you know you can press high and battle. But for me, it's
going to be one of those games, Mush.
I don't want it to be exciting though. I think I'd rather we slow our way into the game and score in the 60th minute rather than.
Are they going to let us work our way into the game? I think they're going to just throw everything at us from the start.
You reckon?
Yeah, they're safe now. They've got nothing to worry about. They're pretty much safe. They're not going to be cautious and worried that they're going to concede early and then the pressure because of the relegation battle. Would you get it? They're safe now. He's going to just throw the kitchen sink at them.
Comments. I think we need to go to the comments. One word answer, guys. Mac or Endo? Who are you playing in the six?
Yeah, I'm just going to go with the majority. Straight away. Just Mac or Endo. Forget the rest of the midfield. I need a Mac or Endo. I'm too slow with the polls. I can't do a poll. I'm too rubbish. I don't know how to work this technology. And Mush is actually probably worse than me. He doesn't even help anything in the background or anything.
Link, nothing.
You're actually shit. Like, we're gonna have to summer transfer windows coming up. We're gonna have to do it. We're gonna have some talks, man. All right. Okay. I don't know where we going with this. Wow. Mac, Endo,
resurgence at the end as well. What's going on?
Endo's coming back into it just when we think it's all Mac.
It's exciting. Mac, we've got a few Macs coming as well.
I think Endo's coming.
Oh gosh, comments. If you can't see what's going on, it is split down the middle, literally split.
I think Mac's winning. I think Mac's winning.
Okay. I don't mind. I'm happy to go either way because I want to go with the majority here, but the majority is,
Mac. Do you think Mac's won?
I think Mac has just about won.
Just about, isn't it?
Just about.
Wow, you're getting attacking, bro. I know you think you're going thing, but
you're the one who just put Ian Rush there, buddy.
How did that happen?
So I don't know about me going attacking.
How the hell did that? What happened there? I am sure I picked Alexis McAllister. How did Ian Rush get in there? That's a madness. Idea. All right, okay. What are we doing with him alongside McAllister then?
Listen, I'm going to keep pushing it until it becomes true. He keeps playing well, and then he keeps getting pulled out. Give my boy Harvey a run of games. Harvey Elliott in midfield.
Harvey Elliott. In a derby.
He struggled. I remember once him and...
I know.
You remember him and Carvalho played in that midfield once?
Unbelievable.
I can't believe Klopp did that.
Gravenberch keep his place.
Do you know
not
what?
Enough in it. Even though he scored a beautiful goal, he didn't do it.
I'm not rating what Gravenberch is doing at the moment. Like that's the honest truth. Like, man, this midfield's looking lightweight at the moment, man. How can we beef it up a bit, Chris?
Okay, so let's address the elephant in the room. Szoboszlai has not been great. Szoboszlai has been bad.
He's been shit, but he can run, and I think
he can powerful, and he's run, and he's and we're going to need some
tall
players.
Yeah, he can support Trent as well.
Guys, tomorrow they're going to have 3 6-footers in midfield, right?
Yeah.
They're going to have at least 2 6-footers at the back.
It will be Decore, Gomez, and Onana as their midfield.
All 3 6-foot plus, right? Will be there for the set pieces. They will have, I think, McNeil's 6 foot. And if Calvert-Lewin plays, some saying he's injured. I'm not sure if he's injured. I don't think he's injured. He's 6 foot. And who's their right winger? I don't even know.
Right winger would be Jack Harrison.
Jack Harrison, who probably
He's
close.
a good player anyway, to be fair.
He's a good player. We have to pick a poor team, Mush.
What do you reckon?
It's got to be Szoboszlai.
I agree. I think Dom. I'm just gonna ignore what he does with the ball and just accept that he has an off the ball remit tomorrow.
Like Rafa said, he keeps passing the ball to
I agree, Rafa. I keep talking about it, Rafa. I agree. He is our number one enemy in possession at the moment, but he also will work.
Okay, are you picking Jones?
I'm going Dom. Oh, let's put Dom in. I think we both want Dom in for that run.
I think we both want him in, but we have our reservations. So if people think that we're being favorite, like we're doing favoritism, no, it's not favoritism. We gotta, as much as we love to not worry about Everton from a footballing point of view, we have to take into consideration set pieces, throw-ins, and all that business. We have to.
Yeah. A lot of comments are talking about Gravenberch's physical size, the fact that he can carry the ball. He's not
doesn't use it, man.
For me, a man gifted with height who does nothing with it personally. But what are you thinking? What are you thinking with? Okay, Grizz, I'd like to know your thoughts. We basically got three players fighting for a position here. We've got Elliot Jones, and Gravenberch. What are you thinking between the three?
I'm thinking Jones, man.
What's the thinking behind that? Because he looks after it as well.
He looks after it. He is a local boy. He knows about the derby settings.
Yeah.
But again, he's not been playing well. He was better, but he's still not. Look, I agree with a lot of the Elliot shouts, but
it's just the ground. It's just the ground we're going to, isn't it? That's all it is.
But you know what I was going to say? I was going to say I'll give Elliot the next game. But I wouldn't play him at West Ham away as well.
What, Souček and Alvarez?
Did you get it?
But we can't do this. What, Elliot? It's not a Thorpe Park where there's like a roller coaster entry where you
come in, Harvey.
Right. Yeah, Harvey, can you stand next to this, please?
But it's, look, we can think that we're being amateurish and come on, man, Mush and Grizz, what are you lot talking about? Football and this that. Klopp talks about it. Like Klopp talks about the height in my team. I have to think about the height in my team. You know, they're a very physical team. So it's not about us. It's, I think, others talk about it as well.
Have we got any?
Dean Luminous says, big up Dean, he says, hola gents, players are allowed to have bad form. They're human after all. By the way, Salah and Szoboszlai didn't complete a single pass in the last match. Endo starts for him. See, the thing is, if you play Endo, then these are your other two midfielders.
Yeah, and that's a three that have played quite a bit together. So yeah, we might be reverting to. I mean, look, maybe in the same way I've accepted, I'm not going to look at Szoboszlai when he receives the ball. I'm happy to not look at Endo when he receives the ball either. And
I've changed my mind.
Yeah, put all my prayers into McAllister and what he does with the football.
Right, which side does McAllister play on?
I think McAllister.
This is what I want to ask everyone as well, and you as well.
Yeah, I think McAllister plays on the Robertson side because I think Szoboszlai's running power needs to help Trent.
Really? Yeah,
I think so. I think
so as well. I agree with you. I just wanted to get a double. You know, like when you get a second opinion from a doctor.
Yeah. The only thing I will say though, and we saw it a lot in the a few big games as well, is McAllister is a decent athlete. Some people talk like he can't run at all. He's actually got a turn of pace, which is quite good.
I've changed my mind again.
Why? What have you done now?
I'm agreeing with the Endo. I'm agreeing with McAllister.
Well, you taking Dom out?
I think Jones. Then, if we're gonna do that, then I think Jones comes in for Szoboszlai. Jones is going to start on Merseyside derby.
We're not stuttering. We're not waffling.
No, but he's not going to drop Jones. He's not going to not pick Jones in a Merseyside derby. Is he?
I don't know how much of what opinion he had.
Did he come on? Did he play against Fulham? No, he didn't come on even.
Who, Jones?
Yeah, guys, did Curtis Jones even come on. I know he didn't start, but I don't think he came on, which is a massive indicator. Someone let me know.
I'm just
Yeah, Jota,
searching.
we're gonna discuss that. But did Curtis Jones come on? Did he have any minutes? Yard for him. We're not sleeping on Elliot. We've Jones started. No, he didn't. It was Gravenberch, Elliot, and Endo. Jones didn't start, my friend. Makaten. We're not sleeping on Elliot. We're thinking Elliot's fantastic, and he has been a shining light.
I
And
think Elliot is
love
our
Elliot.
currently best performing midfielder. That's what I
There you go.
genuinely believe.
For him, there you go. We both agree that Elliot is fantastic.
Jones didn't come on against Fulham, by the way.
Jones is starting.
Yeah,
Jones
he
is
must
starting.
have been rotated out for that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Szoboszlai? Or are you suddenly going back to McAllister, Jones, and Szoboszlai? No, I'm sticking with this. I think Endo's going to play.
Any reason I can get Szoboszlai out of the team, I'm taking. So.
Right. Okay.
All right, that's a good midfield. I like that.
What are you doing then? So obviously we can't have good things as Liverpool fans. Today we find out the guy that we pinned our hopes on in terms of finishing strong, and we would talk. Well, I was definitely advocating Trent and Jota being game changers and possibly season-defining game changers for the last 6 games. Jota's injured for 2 weeks.
It's ridiculous. Every season, did you know that apart from the 21-22 season, we have had 60 game seasons for 5 years. He's never played more than half.
Oh, don't do this to me, man.
30. He's only clocked 30 once outside of 21-22. What does that say? It's all well and good having quality, but what? Available for less than half the games.
Repeat that stat again. I want it to sink in.
Apart from the 21-22 season,
right,
Diogo Jota has never made more than 30 appearances, all comps for Liverpool. Appearances, including sub. In 60 game, we have 60 game seasons every year. So that means you miss a third of the season minimum. Nearer 40%.
When are we holding?
Comments. Are you done? Are you done? Comments with
no, save that. On? When are we holding court next? We have to hold court.
I can't wait to get back in, man. Judge Mush, I've messaged him for his availability. I think
we're gonna have to do the second week after the end of the season. We have to go.
Players on trial. We're going back to players on
trial. Dean comes in another super chat because Endo takes care of the ball well. His progressive passes are needed for this game. Sometimes he gets caught on the ball because of lack of options. I'm not sure if I agree.
I didn't know that Endo had a burner like this. I've got to say.
Go on.
No, but I don't need to say anything further.
No, say it. I want you to go on.
Because I think, and by the way, guys, I have praised Endo to the high hill, but the Endo we are seeing now is not the same Endo as even a month ago. We are now talking about an Endo who he literally can't turn. He can't turn on the ball now. He can't run. And the most worrying thing is when a defensive midfielder is playing deeper than the centre-backs just to receive the ball, because that's the only place he plays safe, he's not helping us get up the pitch. He's not receiving it between the lines. He has done more than what anyone thought.
Yes.
But the truth is, the captain of Japan, who has played for Stuttgart for most of his career, was playing above his level. And now he's returning to his level, which is a mid to lower half Premier League player, which is absolutely fine. I'm not mad at that, by the way. And the best example, I actually mentioned it. I was watching Match of the Day, Grizz. Any of our international followers, Match of the Day is the highlight show of the UK for all the Prem games. And this is not an insult. I'm saying this as a compliment. Grizz, I was watching Lewis Cook for Bournemouth play really well. And I thought, there's no difference between what Lewis Cook is doing at a good team like Bournemouth, moving well, to what the best of Endo is doing. Do you get what I mean? At the moment. People need to stop using the City game as like his average level of performance. That's not what it's been.
No, that was a legendary, iconic performance. That was 100%.
His best. And we've got some great comments here. Where a lot of people, we've got Ali saying, Endo's a squad player, none your business. It's clear he is a slow turning player. It's fine. It's fine to have good squad players, guys. Like that. That's not a problem.
No, I agree with this. I think he's done a job for us. I think, we were talking about, it's mad because, we were talking about with Ben about players that will be worried about their future.
Yeah.
For sure, Endo will have to be one of the guys that's under scrutiny, especially if we're playing a double pivot and he's
high tempo
mobility, ability to press and attack as a duo, go forward and back as a duo, as a double pivot, protecting the fullbacks. If we're not going to play with the inverted fullbacks, I think Endo would be one of the ones that will be under the most threat. And look, as I said, Endo is probably going to be like a cult hero, like, Minamino, Origi, all these kind of players, right? But we definitely need an upgrade in the summer.
And by the way, what you said about being a cult hero, I want to logically say that Endo is probably the most the biggest compliment I can give is that he has overperformed more than any Liverpool player I've ever seen. Like, there have been other Liverpool players that have arrived that have come from mid-table and places like that and have played like mid-table players. Endo has been part of a title challenge Liverpool when no one thought Endo would be.
So, and look, we echo these sentiments. Respect for Endo for what happens. Hope he stays as a squad player. You can tell he's the ultimate professional behind
100%.
the scenes. Maybe he could be a James Milner sort of in the next year or two. Do you know what I mean? That kind of figure in and around the squad, that sets the example for the youngsters and everything. What are we doing? Fahim's in a hurry. He says, move on, yo.
He's right. We haven't done the attack. That was a thing.
Salah coming straight back in, right?
Salah coming back in. But what are you thinking of him at the moment? What do you want him to do in this game?
Stinky, man. He's stinky, innit? Like, what do you want me to say? I can't say he's not been stinky, bro. Like, he's the greatest Liverpool player in my lifetime. Like, I've watched live. Actually, I watched Barnes live once when I was a kid. No, Mohamed Salah's the greatest. I watched Steven Gerrard. Okay, him or Gerrard.
Look at the company. Look at the company he's keeping.
Yeah,
that's a compliment in itself.
Yeah. He's the greatest player, but he's having a difficult time. Is that fair to say? I think it's very fair to say he's having a very difficult time. But we hope that he's been rested. We hope that it's the Merseyside derby and he's got a good record against Everton. Yeah, what are you saying?
I mean, for me, I'd put it down as...
Are we hoping for the best? Like, bring him... He's got to start and we hope for the best, that his aura comes through, kind of thing.
I wouldn't even say aura, Grizz. Salah is a numbers game, man. There's only so long you can keep a man out. Do you get what I mean? If you go 2-3 games without Salah getting a goal, he's going to score in that fourth one. Do you get what I mean? So I think whether you like his performance or not, whether he creates chances or not, whether his touch is nasty or not, he is going to contribute, I think.
I like that. I like that. I think at the time. Yo, where's the likes, man? I don't get it. There's still 330 of you guys in here, and the likes are like absolutely appalling. Dean comes back. He wants to fight us. He says, you're being harsh. From a tactical point of view, our off-the-ball movement in the midfield is woeful, too far apart. Even Thiago struggled with chemistry. I wouldn't say Thiago struggled with chemistry. I think Thiago struggled with a lot of other things in terms of his own body and whatnot. But when Thiago played, I don't think he struggled with chemistry, Dean. Do you agree or disagree, Mush?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think our midfield has been given too much to do, and I think our whole season has been. We've all forgotten that this is a team in transition, and there's been imperfect parts of the team, and that's been the midfield for me. Maybe Thiago would have struggled this year, but in years gone by, I don't think Thiago has. Thiago's struggle has been not chemistry, but biology of actually getting onto the pitch. I think that's been the bigger problem.
Riz LFC says Salah's been stinky recently, but in the final third, he's our most creative player still.
A worrying indictment in itself, yeah.
Leighton says, argument for starting Salah as the 9. with Jota out, and then we can carry on playing. What was it? Gakpo and Diaz on the flanks.
I'm not against that fully. I would also say it's a chance to bring Elliot into proceedings as well. But
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. You think that could be an option?
potentially, I'm just very interested in who people have as the 9, because the Gakpo on the left is
Is
very much
Gakpo keeping his? Okay, I'm straight to the point. Gakpo keeping his place.
100% for me, and
100%.
it's not just about the Fulham game. I'm going to go all the way back to his influence on the team coming on against Sheffield United when McAllister had to bail us out. Cody Gakpo is finally showing the energy and physicality and influence on
That we
games
wanted.
Yeah,
That we wanted.
and it's been happening, like you've said, Grizz. You've pushed all season. It's finally happening when he plays in the position he's actually built his career in.
Mush is having sway, guys.
Where do you sit on Cody Gakpo?
I'm agreeing with you. I think I'm a big believer in play people that are in a moment, that are in a form, in a moment.
That's what Tway's saying as well. You have to play players on form.
But then this gets tricky then. Because this gets tricky then.
What? Who's playing up front?
This gets tricky then.
Bailey's come straight in with his opinion or her opinion.
So then maybe we are doing the Salah goes in the middle and Diaz plays on the right. Because I think Diaz was fantastic.
I really like the idea. Humor me for a second. But I have been pushing for the fact that Diaz this season, even though he started on the left, he does his best work in central areas when he can carry the ball and weave through. I think Diaz false 9, where it's just an interchanging front.
Merseyside derby.
No, but what I'm saying is, don't be so fixated on the front 3 looking like that. They can all interchange, and that will make it difficult for Everton in itself. We're not going to win the game, Grizz, if we go... When we have Nunes, we go direct. He can't win a single header. His aerial...
He's going to be up against 2 lumberjacks of midfield.
Yeah. So why are we...
and Tarkowski, a good centre-back, solid.
Exactly. So are you going to get joy by going direct aerially, or is it through the ball zipping about between sharper players?
Mm-hmm.
I think Diaz false 9 is something that helps join all this up, I think, personally. Drop into that 10... dribble with the ball, take some people out of the game, then release the other 2.
Guys, last question of the day. We need one. No, how do I word the question so we get one word answer? So what I'm trying to ask is, we've decided Gakpo is playing on the left, right? Rain, shine, rain. What's the word? Rain, wind, or
rain, snow, or shine.
Rain, snow, or shine.
No, it's not. All right. Well, anyway,
rain, snow, rain or snow.
Rain or shine. Is it rain or shine?
There's no shine.
It is. The word shine is there.
Wind. Rain, snow, or wind.
Listen, man.
Rain,
them flights to Rwanda deporting people. Me and you are going to be getting tickets next week, mate.
Come rain or shine.
Come rain or shine. I told you shine was in it.
Rain, wind, or shine. Okay, rain, wind, or shine. All right, rain, wind, or shine. We've decided, and you can't sway our brains like you have in the other positions. Gakpo is starting on the left. He deserves it. Salah's going to start. We know that. Salah wide right.
He's starting, right? Whether we like it or not, he's going to start.
No, he's starting.
Yeah.
Salah wide right or Salah through the middle, which will mean Diaz.
I like Emo Heskey's one there.
Rain, wind, or slow. That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, I don't know how to word the question so we get one word answers. You know what I'm trying to ask?
What are you trying to ask?
I'm trying to ask if I think we've all decided we don't want Nunes to start.
Yeah, no one's mentioned Nunes once. Comments. Are any of you still going to give me the chaos? This is Nunes' moment to silence us, etc., etc.
Dean says I would play. Dean says I would play Dan's, but Klopp won't. We got to lose a league title.
Yeah. You guys are gonna kill that kid's career before it's even
Yeah.
started if he doesn't play well.
Gunid says, "Shut up, guys. Nunes starts through the middle." Yo, what's good says Nunes starts for me. Pixelate Pigeon, who's definitely a sensible, rational fan, he says, "I would start Nunes. He's out of form but fit. I think Salah is out of form and not fit." Okay,
Yeah.
I get it.
None of your business is probably sharing my sentiments. He
hasn't
doesn't
made
even
it
trouble the centre backs at the moment.
At the moment, he's been so dead. He looks flat.
100%. Like, there's no chaos. People keep talking about chaos. I'm like, what chaos? There's nothing.
Diaz up front, Diaz on the right, Salah in the middle, because that's what I'm going towards at the moment.
Yeah,
Salah,
I'm not against that. Like I said, the way I look at that front three, if we go Diaz, Salah, Gakpo, I don't see them as fixed to their position. It will just be on the break, move in between.
Diaz in the middle, pressing and creativity.
Yep.
Nunes a few months ago, maybe, but we ain't even getting any chaos at the moment. He looks shattered. He does, man. He does. But he's put in some hard mileage this year, man.
Yeah. Listen, people forget when your Trents and Salahs were all out, Nunes got what?
Nunes was,
It was like 8 goals and 8 assists in 10 games.
Yeah.
He's done his bit. What killed us was the Jota injury, bro. The
That's
Jota
the
injury
one.
killed us right now.
I don't know what to do then.
Because that's where that spot missing.
I know, it's Jota.
Diogo was there straight away.
It's Jota.
What are we doing? I'm sticking to Diaz, man. I'm being bullish about this.
Diaz. He's been playing better at the wide, man.
I'm not mad at it though. But what are you trying to see? Cody in false back to goal again? Because you were hating that.
Needs must with Jota injury, or it's Nunes then. Just throw the big man in there. Throw the big man in there and just say,
For what? I checked recently, his aerial duel percentage is lower than strikers like Neil Maupay, who was like 5'7".
You're joking.
I swear it.
You're joking.
Bro, I need to pull the stat out. I saw it in the last 5 games. He's won I think it was 11% of duels or something. If I can find it, I can't remember the source. So,
guys, is that real what he's giving us? Mush, you out to depress us with these stats tonight, man. We can't play Diaz through the middle in a Merseyside derby, man.
Even Tway knows, man. Tway's been watching.
Bring Nunes off the bench if it ain't working. I don't even like his impact off the bench last year.
Hey, Grizz, you're killing me, man.
No, I'm being serious.
Yeah, he doesn't. We think it's going to create madness. It doesn't. He just struggles to adapt to the pace of the game.
Okay, Sean's actually corrected us.
Come rain or shine.
Shut up, you dumbos. It is come rain or shine, wind and high water. That's the actual long saying. All right.
Beautifully poetic.
Thank you, Sean. But, Nunes will prove all of us wrong. Last minute winner, just like the Sadio one in 2016.
He's been proving us every week, man. When do you guys give up on this proving thing?
All right.
Bajitic, yeah, I haven't seen that name in a while. Hussam.
I'm doing this. If you don't want to pick Nunes.
What, you're putting Diaz on the right?
Yeah.
I don't mind. One of Diaz's
best
performances was
I don't think
Everton.
I don't think Everton will expect us to be set up like this. Element of surprise.
What you think Everton think that Nunes is nailed on to start, do you reckon? Because Jota's injured as well.
Yeah. And definitely Salah on the right.
Yeah.
Dean says, Grizz, bench Mo, start Diaz, Nunes, and Gakpo. I would personally, I'm not gonna lie. Mush. I personally would, but that is huge. That's a big call.
Money, I keep saying it, money talks, man. We pay Mo too much money to not be using him at this time of the season, man.
Diaz was very unpredictable versus Fulham. You know that. He was in, out.
Yeah, I like him. I like Diaz, for me, has been our probably best player since January, I reckon.
Emeka, answer Emeka, because you're the one who dropped him.
I haven't given up on him. I even said it.
I haven't,
decided-
Emeka. He's still my guy, by the way.
Listen, Ibu is a good brother, man. He's a good Muslim brother of mine, but Ibu can restart again from next season. He's had a bad few weeks. Jarrell.
Oh, you're
really
keeping
can't
Jarrell
come
for the
down.
last 5 games, yeah? If as long as he's injury free, inshallah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's fine, man. It happens sometimes. It happens. Your
wanna
best
see
players are gonna go in and out of form.
Bailey says, I want to see Szoboszlai get minutes on the right wing. It's too late to do experiments, right?
Listen, I don't know what people think is at stake. It's not like we can mess up this game and
It's a
chill.
game.
I just watched Arsenal win 5-0. It's pressure right now. We need sure things.
I'm
Yeah,
nervous.
Leighton sees the vision with Kwanzaa. I think that.
No, but I get that. That goes without saying.
So which games, apart from Villa away, potentially, what game are we not going to dominate the ball, realistically?
I think we dominated that one as well.
Yeah. So for me, you need to create quality. I want us to get leads rather than chasing deficits all the time.
There you guys have it, guys. This is our predicted lineup. Or this is, this is not our predicted. This is our lineup.
Preferred
combined. This is our preferred combined lineup between me and Mush. I think we both agreed in the end.
Yeah. A few contentious ones. I think Kwanzaa and Endo are the ones creating most. Harvey Elliott, as he does in our weekly lineups that we create, will feel hard done by that he meets the height restrictions constantly.
Well, this is it. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's show. We had a bit of Arne Slot chat with the brilliant Ben Bosak. We had a Merseyside preview. We've spoken about the Jota injury. We will be bringing Jota back to the court to decide what to do with him, basically. But we'll speak about it in the summer. Guys, if you haven't liked the show, I don't know what you're still doing here because it doesn't make sense. Do you get it, Mush? Do you get my mentality? Like, do you get my theory, though?
Things aren't adding up, bro.
No. But do you get when I say this, people sometimes don't get it. Like, there's still 325 people in here, right? Why haven't we got minimum 325 people liking it? Because if you've stayed 1 hour 30 minutes, that means you've watched it and enjoyed it, or you're a mad psycho that you hated it, yet you've still stayed 1 hour 30 minutes. Do you get it?
Hate watching a YouTube show. I respect it. If anything.
You've actually hate watched if you haven't liked. Do you really want to be a hate watcher?
Are you a hate watcher right now?
Are you a hate watcher? If you're not, like the stream. Guys, this has been me and Mush. This has been Manager Carnage / Everton Merseyside preview. We'll be back for the post-match tomorrow. I don't know who's going to be on with me. I might just be on myself. I've had enough of this.
I'll be there.
Okay, he promises to be there. Take care. Over and out. Peace.
Thank you, everyone.